What's the number one cause of divorce, and how do we solve that?
I'm gonna tell you about a woman whose heart is sunshine, whose body burned hot. I'm gonna tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves.
Well, welcome to our show today, gentlemen. My name is Jeff Allen. I'm a professional coach and affiliate with Good Guys to Great Men. Tim Wade and I have known each other for, it's been almost 5 years now. Basically, September of 2015 is when I found the local men's group that Steve had started just a couple months prior. So Tim and I are some of the OG in Steve Horseman's local Good Guys to Great Men men's group here locally. Of course, for the past 2 months or so, we've been meeting over Zoom, which is a bummer. But hey, maybe that's good, Tim, because we've closed down like 6 places. We've had to rotate literally 6 different places as restaurants have shut down over the years, and this pub and that pub. And even old Chicago and downtown Fort Collins closed when we were there. Like, you don't want us to come to your restaurant because that shit closes down. So today our theme of the day and our theme of the week that we had all week on our C-Note show, which Cynthia and I host Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, is to solve the number one cause of divorce. What's the number one cause of divorce, and how do we solve that? And Cynthia and I have created literally in the past 48 hours, because we've been building all the material and talking about the idea for 2 or 3 weeks at this point of the next free product that we want to give away. And this is like a challenge to us. I've been in business and private practice for about 4 years. I've been working with Steve for over 2 years professionally, going on 3 years. He and I have done 6 retreats shoulder to shoulder together. And I've done retreats of my own as well. I did one with Dennis Collins in Phoenix, Arizona. And that one was men's work and then advanced pistol defense training, the one I did with Dennis. Otherwise, with Steve, we're up here at his beautiful place in Red Feather. And, Tim is here locally as well. And Tim runs retreats with Steve here locally. And of course, that Steve runs retreats in Mexico. And he did one and is going to do more in London as well. And let's see. So Mr. Dan Dora isn't on here today, but I've got the recording, Dan. Dan, as you watch this, I'm recording it. Don't worry, because that's why you're able to see it, is because I'm recording it. We'll just move past that. So Cynthia is my beautiful co-host here again today. She's the only woman that I allow in my life, and she's the only woman that's on our shows as well. And she's a professional coach. We met professionally over 4 years ago. She and I both have our own private practice, and we work with men that are in the fear of divorce, like you if you're watching this, or you want to know what the hell Jeff is doing. Either you're watching this for business reasons, or you're watching it because you've heard, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. You're separated and you're in the same house. You're trying to reconcile, or you want to reconcile, or you want to grow the physicality between the two of you again. And she's saying things like, all the shit that I heard in 2015 from my ex, guys, okay? My son's mom in 2015. And Tim and I have talked a lot about this. So I heard, I'm going to go out late with my girlfriends again. I'll be home late. And it's like, well, what time is late? Well, whenever I want, stop trying to control me. Like, okay, I'll be the nice guy and not ask any more questions and walk in eggshells and, try to be the nice guy, great man. And that didn't work out for me very well. And, I couldn't see the back of my own head. So I found this local men's group. I was just an absolute free fall, guys. Like I'll talk more about my journey on the show, but, from anger to crying to waking up sweating in the middle of the night to having nightmares of her going off with another man. I'm like on a bus and she gets off the bus with another guy and I'm frozen in my seat. And then I look out the window as she kind of just like watches the bus pull away with me in the bus. And then I wake up in fucking tears. That was one of my favorite nightmares. That was a great one. So I'm sure you guys can relate to that if you're watching this, right? So we want to solve the number one cause of divorce. And I want to bust the bubble right now because we're going to teach you throughout this. And the free program that we have for you is to help you solve that number one cause of divorce, which is fear. The fear of divorce itself. And Steve Horseman's free book, his free giveaway on goodguys2greatmen.com is how to solve that fear of divorce, right? How to solve the number one cause of divorce, that fear. Okay. And that's what we're here to talk about today. And so I'd love for Cynthia to unmute herself and say hi to all the gentlemen and honor our men here today. Hi, Cynthia. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. It is a profound honor to be here. And I truly appreciate sitting in the presence of all of you. I think Tim Wade's t-shirt says it all. His shirt says "Got Mojo," and hell yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Tim,
what
come on to say hi. Yeah.
That's what I feel when I get to be on these calls, is your mojo. And I want you to know that as a woman sitting here, that is a profound gift. It shifts the tenor of my day. It inspires me. And it also makes me want to be the best possible person, the best possible woman I can be.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Yeah, Cynthia gives us the feminine perspective. She's a professional coach and a teacher, a master's level. She has a degree in teaching as well. And so she's here for our feminine perspective. Yeah, Tim, come on and just say hi real quick. We want to see your shirt.
I am muted.
Yes.
Hi, it's so good to be here. And you guys are so inspiring. I just got to say that. I just want to just give you props that did what you're doing 5 days a week and then being here on Sunday. And it's unique. I don't think anyone else is doing this the way you guys are doing it. So yes. And this shirt, there's only one of them. This is it.
You got the one.
So
that's right. Awesome. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it so much. Yeah, what you can't see is the big arrow that's pointing down. Oh, yeah. No, okay. Yeah, it's a little. Right before I muted him, I think he said it was a little arrow. Oh my goodness, self-deprecation. Oh my gosh. So yeah, so thank you for honoring Tim, and I want to share this quote from Marcus Aurelius, which is, "The impediment to action advances action, and what stands in the way becomes the way." So what my goal is here today is for you to feel empowered at the end of this call, for you to have perspective and a plan of what to do. I'm not going to fucking magically fix everything, and I hope you don't think that's going to happen in 90 minutes, because it's not. All right, you can go buy a magic pill online. You know, there's lots of scam artists that'll sell you that pill for $99.99, right? So if you want to go try to fix it in one day, you're in the wrong place. All right, but if you want to actually fix it, if you actually want to solve the fear of divorce, if you want to feel more confident, if you want to feel a part of a tribe of men that are doing this together, that understands sometimes we need to reach a hand down and pick each other up out of the mud, or lean on each other. That's what we're here for, guys. So if you're here for that, then you're in the right place. Here's a little housekeeping for 30 seconds. If you'd like access to the recordings, please visit goodguys2greatmen.com for information about joining these communities. And I've listened to Diffuse the Divorce Bomb. It's phenomenal. I recommend it all the time to guys. Super cool. I'm also part of the Roundtable monthly community as well. Phenomenal stuff. And then if you've been a member of Good Guys to Great Men in any capacity, you will then be invited into our, Steve's and our free ongoing main private Facebook group, our main Good Guys to Great Men private Facebook group. Once you've been one of our clients, or you've been, if you've attended one of our in-person retreats, things like that, right? And Cynthia, we already have guys mentioning in the chat how why they're here today, and right. I hate that all your guys' advice is always right, LOL, right? It's working, and thanks for everything. You're phenomenal. Absolutely, yeah. Thank you guys so much. Well, I want to start with our opening question. So our opening question, here's our theme of today: solve the number one cause of divorce, which is fear of divorce, right? Fear of the D. Fear of the D. That's a bad thing. We don't want fear of the D. We don't want her to fear the D either. We want to overcome the fear of the D. So here's a question from our forum, and I want to start us off with this. This is what we do on the C-Note show every day as well. We have guys interact on our private Facebook group, which is Great Men Move Mountains. So you can go to greatmenmovemountains.com/Facebook and punch in your info to be invited into our private Facebook group. We have about 110 men in there right now. It's free. It's ongoing. We share tons of awesome stuff. Cynthia and I are in there, and you'll hear me talk about, my brand and our website and my free giveaway today, which I'll give you the link to about halfway through at about 45 minutes from now, and then at the end as well. Happy to give you that link. So here's a question that we've been fielding on our show, and that was from our forum. This is all one post. I broke it up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. I'm feeling really disconnected from my wife. I feel like she's moving further and further away. I just feel the distance growing. 6 weeks ago, she said that she loves me but is not in love with me. but that she doesn't want a separation at this time. We just live as roommates and have been for over a year. I want to rediscover the calm masculine man in me that I used to be earlier in our marriage, but there are always moments in fear and loneliness that I act in ways I wish that I hadn't. I want to validate myself, but I also want to get my wife's affection back. And so as we look at this question, right, I want to rediscover the calm masculine man that I used to be. There are moments in fear and in loneliness I act in ways that I wish that I hadn't. And I want to segue into a clip from the show Frasier, where he's acting in ways that he probably later on wishes that he hadn't. We're going to start with a little comedy here this morning. So the way I work and the way Cynthia and I work is we laugh and then we go into deep shit. We dive deep and then we bounce back up with tools. And then we laugh and we dive back into deep shit and we bounce back up as a man with a plan and perspective to move forward in the world. Okay. That's what coaching is, guys. It's recognizing the past, but this isn't therapy where we dig into the past. We recognize the past as coaches. We make a plan and we jump forward into the world of how to get what we want, how to get the hugs and the kisses and the affection that we want from our spouse. And how do we get the affection from ourselves as well? And my go-to bad stuff in the past was to get angry. And certainly Frasier is not handling himself very well here because he hasn't had a lot of sleep. So let me share this funny clip from Frasier and then we'll jump back into our show.
Oh, for God's sake. I am trying to get some sleep. I asked you to keep that dog quiet, and instead you outfit him with a megaphone. In the last 36 hours, I haven't had so much as a nap, and I've got to be back at the station by 2 a.m. Eddie, listen carefully. By the time this day is up, one of us is going to sleep.
Oh, don't worry, Dr. Crane. I'll take Eddie for a walk. And as far as your problem at work goes, if you want my opinion...
Don't! I had my share of women's opinions for the week between the station's new Reichschancellor and Roz's incessant whining. As far as I'm concerned, your entire sex can put a sock in it.
Boy, you never let me get away with a comment like that.
Oh, even the best of us can get a bit cranky when we're overtired. All Dr. Crane needs right now is a little peace and quiet. Eddie!
Damn it! Morning, Daphne.
Hello.
Where are you off to?
Oh, I'm taking Eddie for a walk.
By yourself?
Yes, of course, why not?
It's dangerous out there. You never know when you might need one of these.
A starter's pistol? I don't think so, Dr. Crane, but thanks for the thought.
How did she know it wasn't a real gun? Told the servants, even the ones who spent years fleeing juntas.
You bought a starter's pistol?
Yes. You see, as long as Maris thinks it's real, it makes her feel secure, but this way, no one can get hurt.
What the hell was that? Was that a gunshot?
Morning, Frasier. Just getting up?
Just getting up! Are you out of your mind? A gun just went off in here. Niles bought a starter's pistol.
And there's no need to get snippy. Accidents happen, you know. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I snippy?
I didn't realize it was too much to ask that there not be gunplay in my living room. You know, Niles, you shouldn't have any kind of gun, really. Come to think of it, now that Mr. Sunshine's home during the day, maybe I shouldn't either.
Gunplay in the living room. Yeah. So I thought that was there's some many cool metaphors in there. One of them was that Niles said, well, if she thinks it's real, if she thinks the gun is real, his wife, that she'll feel safe. And I thought that was really telling of, well, how much am I trying to fake who I am in the world? How much am I just trying to like bullshit myself, bullshit her, kind of just go through the motions, not really know how to ground myself, not really know the skills, right? And there's 3 forms of confidence. I'm going to share the screen really fast. The 3 forms of confidence are the behavioral skills, the emotional skills, the emotional control, and the spiritual mindsets. These are the 3 forms of confidence. And so Niles there is trying to fake the, let's say, skills of gunplay or of defense, right? And he's pretty calm, but I don't think he feels very confident about his emotional control if he's in a conflict in some kind of capacity. And what's his spiritual confidence? What are his mindsets if he feels like he has to have a fake pistol along with him and such? Right. So that's what I want to ask myself. Yeah, Tim, snippy, definitely. Oh, was I snippy? That's oh, pardon me, I didn't know. Yeah, exactly. So if you don't have those three forms of confidence, you're going to fall short at some point in life, right? So Cynthia, I'd love to bounce it off you. What did you see there with two things? Number one, Fraser being out of control emotionally, okay? How would a woman feel as his, let's say, spouse in that environment when he's like angry over here and accusing over here and playing persecutor and playing the victim role? How would you feel in that instance? And I'll ask about Niles in a second. So if you were Fraser's spouse, how would that feel in your body? How would you perceive what's going on with him in relationship with you?
Sure. Well, I have two responses, right? Because there's the human resonance with when we are like on our edge and exhausted. None of us are in our best selves, and watching him, it was like the very exact opposite of attraction toward his character. And being in that situation, being a woman in his life, I actually would have felt a little uncertain and untrusting and ungrounded, because I wasn't sure if, his snippiness was suddenly going to turn onto my direction, and criticizing something that I was doing, something that maybe was small before, but in that instance, was really upsetting to him. So that definitely none of the feminine in me was like pulled toward his character in that moment.
Yeah. And so that's our question today is, how do we start moving toward being grounded and being masculine in a way that even if we're upset, that she can still feel attracted to us? Okay, with whatever's appropriate for you right now. Even if you're separated, she doesn't want to be even in the same room with you at the moment. Okay, how do we ground ourselves out? And gentlemen, in about 10 minutes, I'd like to open it up to those who want to raise their hand in the participant section of chat and ask a question, or post a question within the group chat as well. And also a huge benefit of being here as a tribe is that you can privately chat the other men within the group. Maybe you recognize someone's face or someone's name from one of the groups that you're in with Good Guys to Great Men. Maybe you see a gentleman that's being active within the chat. Feel free to privately chat them. That's a huge benefit of this. And that's why this community is growing and growing so strongly. Again, it's like we're the Spartan next to each other and be able to reach a hand out or reach a hand down when we're face down in the mud. That's where I was in 2015, face down in the mud. And that's why Cynthia and I wanted to make the free program that we have, which is How to Solve the Fear of Divorce in 10 Days. And that's what we're going to be giving away today. By the way, guys, no strings attached, no BS. That's not how we work. I'm not trying to sell anything today. I believe in heart and business. Heart and business. That's my motto. Heart and business. And this is our heart. And I have many men that are on here that are my private one-on-one coaching clients. And, if that's something that you want to talk about, cool. But I'm not worried about that. I know that I would have loved to have the product that I finished last night, that Cynthia and I finished last night, 5 years ago in 2015. That would have really helped me raise my face out of the mud, and it's free. It's something we want to just give away to you guys. Okay. So I want to share 2 minutes, about a minute 45-second motivational video. But before I do that, there's another question that we had from a gentleman in our C-Note show, which again is every day. He asked, can I put these things into practice now? Even though we're separated, even though she says she wants nothing to do with me right now, and can I still have hope? Can I still have hope? That's a really good question. And so what I did is I pulled a post that was put in our private group, our Great Men Move Mountains private Facebook group yesterday, about a man explaining how he felt after our shows these Thursday and Friday of this week. Okay. And what it turned around for him. The tools that we teach, the tools that you're learning in Good Guys to Great Men, in the Diffuse a Divorce Bomb, in the roundtable, or at the local events that you go to. That's what these tools do, right? So can you have hope? Of course. Yes, absolutely. Okay. And even before hope is know that you're going to be okay, right? You're going to be okay through this. You're not the only one that has ever gone through this, even though it feels like that. Especially at 3 a.m, like when I woke up in sweat and tears and terror. Okay. It's because I didn't know there was other men going through this. And that's why I reached out and found Steve Horseman and Good Guys to Great Men and this work. That's why I hired my own coach at the beginning of 2016. That's why I went and paid for an event to go up to Steve's ranch in the summer of 2016. Okay, that's what I did all my own work. So I read the books and did all the same stuff you guys are doing now, right? And just to kind of share 30 seconds of my story, I reattracted my ex. Okay, she wanted to get back with me. We were physical again for a time. That was before I met Cynthia Cruz, right? So my ex and I were physical again for a time. And I decided I didn't want to get back with my ex because she wasn't growing and everything was still my fault. Okay. I was still the victim in the Shakespearean play that she had going on in her mind. I was still the villain, I should say. I'm sorry. I was still the villain. I was still the villain in the Shakespearean play that was going on in her mind. And she was trying to hand me that pirate costume over and over. Like, no, you're the bad guy. You wear the pirate costume. Look, you're wearing the pirate costume. I can see the parrot on your shoulder. I can see the hook and the hat and everything. And I look down and I'm like, I don't see a parrot. I don't see a frilly shirt. I don't know what you're talking. No. You're the bad guy. You're the villain. That was still the theme even after we had separated. Okay, so I decided I didn't want to get back into that Shakespearean play. I wanted to create my own play, my own adventure in the world, right? So I turned her down, my ex. Then I did this work. I did not go out with women for 3 months. I dedicated myself to this. That's a great question that my clients ask me is, well, should I not see women for a while? That's what I did. I pressed pause on any intimacy with women, physical or emotional, for 3 months, did this work. And then I started dating other women again. And then the summer of 2016, that's what I met Miss Cynthia Cruz. She and I started dating that November, and we've been together for, she'll be living with me for 3 years this July, and now we're engaged to be married. She's a phenomenal woman, and I've used these skills since day one, guys. I did all of this, reattracted my ex, didn't want to be with her, and then used these skills from day one with Cynthia. And that's what she and I talk about all the time. So let me share what the impact that a man on the forum had just yesterday. I noticed something peculiar during that experience. He's talking about when he actually is owning his emotions in a calm, grounded way. So he's integrating both sides, his masculine and feminine, and owning it as powerful. I wanted at some level to feel more embarrassed or guilty about it, but I didn't. Curious. Although I have made a declaration to myself before that I would never apologize for my emotions again, I felt like I should. Don't should on yourself. That's gross, right? That should revealed something to me. I wanted so much for her, or his audience, right? Her. I wanted so much for her to like me that I thought that if I apologized or explained my display of emotion, I could reverse the damage that display did to a make-believe image I didn't really believe in that I hoped to display. Oh, actually, he was talking about having emotions in front of men. So I was thinking this could be applied to being in front of her or being in front of other men. So I wanted to apologize for being emotional in front of other men. Okay. It was a needy feeling, greasy and unstable, him wanting to apologize, which comes across as creepy, women call it. So if we are needy and we feel like we need to apologize and we don't own our roots, if we don't own our desire and own ourself and own our adventure in the world and the beliefs we have and the values that we have, like we read about in Hold On to Your Nuts by Wayne Levine or No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover. If we don't own that and we feel apologetic and like nice guy, it comes across as creepy to women. The should was an expression of the gap between who I am and who I wish I was. Centered and in my power, there is no gap. Okay, when he's centered and integrated, there is no gap of expression. There is no should. This was a good reminder. I found that my true natural masculine essence is found when I release my emotions and is stifled when I hold these emotions in. Yeah, exactly the opposite of what we were taught as boys in our culture. In many warrior cultures, the shedding of tears, when not from an indulgent or self-centered place, is considered honorable and a reflection of the power within the warrior. In those cultures, if a man cannot cry, he cannot grow. Well, okay, yeah, Jeff. So I'm supposed to what, like cry and share all my emotions in front of her? Is that what you're trying to say? Is that what you're trying to say, Jeff? I'll continue. My masculine center is that part of me that observes these emotions in my head. When I can honor these emotions and relax into observing them, they are released and take with them the trauma that was their source. This is a man from our forum. I didn't write this. Every time I release a powerful emotion with love and compassion, it clears space for what I would choose to be in there. When I practice this regularly, it increases both my emotional intelligence and also my attractiveness and allows others to trust me. Women can relax in my presence. And this man said that for the first time in a year, he asked a woman out yesterday, and he's back in the game. He's off the bench, as as a friend of mine would say. So this talks about how to integrate the parts of ourselves. Okay, this community, guys, good guys to great men, and great men move mountains. It's not about controlling women. It's not red pill. It's definitely not MGTOW and writing women off altogether. You wouldn't be here if you believed in those things. Okay, you're here because you believe that you can be a strong man. Okay, you can attract a strong woman in your life who's compassionate and empathetic and honoring, and you can have a fantastic sexual, intimate, honoring, reverent, modern relationship together. Modern relationship together. So Cynthia, when this man shares on the forum how the masculine center is a part of him that observes these emotions, and when he can honor them and relax into observing them, they are released. And every time he has a powerful emotion, he sees it with love and compassion. So just be honest with us, right? So what do you feel as a woman in your body when you feel a man owning his stuff, owning his emotions in a calm way and responds in a calibrated way, right? Not the knee-jerk reactions that we saw Fraser Crane doing there, and not what I did in the past, which was explode in my nice guy anger around the covert contracts that weren't fulfilled. Okay, not that. This man from our forum who's saying he's integrating his emotions. He relaxes into them and observes them and releases them. How did you feel being around that type of man?
Sure. Well, I will preface this in saying I kind of want to respond to Andrew in the chat said, I get the concept. You just need to have confidence, show mojo, but it seems like miles away when your life is falling apart. So I do want to preface that none of this is not easy. And this is definitely a process and a path. And I have absolutely been there with, even being given the tools of like, just be confident or just look in the mirror and give yourself, motivation. And you're like, I am bleeding profusely from my heart. How am I supposed to look in the mirror and say, I'm powerful today? That's, I just don't feel it's realistic. And on the other side of this journey of this work of these steps and practices that you can use to address exactly that, Andrew, when a man is absolutely owning his emotional state, whether it's the pain or the frustration or the anger, and he is in a strong, vulnerable place. He is not shaming himself, guilting himself. He is honoring who he is. It is, on the other end, for a woman, my whole being just relaxes because it feels like a safe space and it feels like someone that I can trust because he's being honest in himself and he's honoring himself. And I think that's what can build distrust and criticism and threats between us, is when either side is, dishonoring the self or pushing things down. We're all very perceptive and we can pick up on that. So I really want to honor that this is a ferocious path. And I also want to drop in that little bit of hope that the other side of this is profoundly connecting, powerful, attractive, and inspiring to the other people in your lives.
Absolutely, Cynthia. Thank you so much. And so I'm going to give you a tool right now, and then we have another tool I'm going to show you that you can take a screenshot of as well. It's called your morning kingly plan. So we're definitely about perspective and a plan, right? So we're going to give you concrete things here today on top of the free program that we're going to give away today as well. I want to honor Billy in the chat, and I'm going to read backwards a tiny bit, Billy, I'm going to read backwards a tiny bit. You say, I cry all the time right now. By the way, my ex fell in love with 2 other men while she was with me. Okay, one in 2007 and one in 2015. 2015 was the year we separated and got divorced. And I found out that she slept with the second man. The other man was in Iraq. And I had a 3-year-old with her at the time. And this other guy who was in Iraq had kids. And, we're both, he's married. And so we could definitely swap war stories as far as that goes, Billy. But you said, I cry all the time and I feel weak sometimes. Yet I've accepted that this is the real me. I'm an emotional dude. That's me as well. I'm an emotional guy as well. You're here because you recognize that there's these parts of ourselves that we can lead in the world. Here's a graphic I showed on our show this week. So the man is the black lines, okay? We can lead in the world in the masculine, have direction, have plan, have boundaries, be the shore of the river, right? And then we also have our caring parts, our connecting parts, our own feminine parts that are in flow. We have both. All of us have both, and right? And the blue is her flood of emotions that are going to happen in the world. They're going to happen. So how do we deal with this is what we learn in Good Guys to Great Men. How do we grow our boundaries? How do we know that it's okay to have flow and fun and have those connecting parts of ourselves as well? We don't need to be a robot. We don't need to be like the stone man with no emotions. That's not what it is. She's just not going to connect with that. We want to be both and know how to deal with her flood. Right. So, Billy, you definitely have some great questions about how much should I be connecting with her? She seems to be into the affair guy, right? There's definitely huge conversation around that I'm happy to talk about more if you like. That's a whole show, right, of how to deal with that situation. So I honor you for putting that in the chat. And gentlemen, if you connect with Billy, private chat him, right? Start a conversation with him. If you know him from the forum, like, guys, switch cell numbers or WhatsApp, numbers or whatever. Connect with each other over Facebook Messenger. That's what we're here for. That's what grows this tribe and helps us feel supported and not alone. So here's a tool I want to give you right now. I'm going to show 2 minutes of an awesome video, and then I'll give you another tool, your morning kingly plan. So here's a tool that Cynthia asked of a man on Wednesday of our show. This man had been incarcerated for 5 years. And he'd been out for now 5 years, and he's only 31 years old, I believe. He's incarcerated in his early 20s, and he's in a relationship now, and he's wondering, she's really independent, and touch is on her, timetable, and I feel like I'm on the back foot, and I'm always just kind of like waiting for her to come around. And Cynthia asked him this question, and I want you guys to ask yourself this question as well. What do you offer the relationship that she's lucky to have? What do you offer into the relationship that she's lucky to have? Not that you try to flaunt it in her face, okay? It's not to grow your ego. It's to ask yourself the truth. What's the truth? The truth is, you probably don't have the pirate costume on, okay? You're not Captain Hook. The truth is, yeah, you've probably fucked up in different ways, like I did, okay? You've probably messed up, sure. But do you deserve a label to damn you for the rest of your life? No. Okay. Do you deserve to be called emotionally abusive after 6 months of therapy in 2015, after finding out she's the one that slept with another guy and fell in love with another guy? I'm the one that's emotionally abusive. Okay. Did I get angry sometimes? Did I get angry at 3 a.m. when I saw the text on her phone? I can't wait to touch your body, love. That was a text I saw on her phone, and I got super fucking pissed. Well, yeah. And the pissed was like, what the hell is this? What the fuck? Is that emotionally abusive, or is that me like just being angry that she's stomped all over our relationship boundaries and stomped all over the intimacy between the two of us and gutted my fucking guts out on the floor of our relationship? Okay. Could I have handled that better? Probably. Could I have handled the next 6 months better? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But did I deserve a label damning me? I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, what's the truth? What do you offer in the relationship that she's lucky to have? Okay, another question for right this moment is, what makes her lucky to have you? Like, what's good about you, guys? Honor yourself. What kind of man are you? You're here because you're an honorable man. You have integrity. You're kind-hearted. You want good things. That's what this tribe is. You wouldn't be here if you believed anything otherwise. Okay, you want to connect with other men. You want to learn. You believe in growth. Yeah, you believe in fun and security as well, but you also believe in growth. You want to learn the 3 forms of confidence, the skills, the emotional control, the spiritual mindsets. Okay, so I'm going to show a 2-minute awesome video about mindset and about honoring your own self right now.
Every man in himself is aristocratic, that he is his own king. Takes a sojourn into the material world, has to climb up all the different rungs on the ladder, and ultimately has to return to himself. The significance of the extraction from the sword from the stone is the stone is the material world. The material world, which seems all solid because it controls you whilst you're projecting your sense of identity upon it. The extraction of the stone is taking back your own authority, your own power. You're no longer looking for a sense of self outside of yourself. And then you have to face the demons that you've created in your history by facing them and fighting them and owning them. You put them in the face of who you are, and that's a wrestling match. You'd have to take away all these crutches, and that's all that we struggle from in life, is taking away our crutches. You've got to take away all these crutches and stand as the man that you are, and you're liberated from your whole thing.
What is the vision? Because the only reason I'm here, the only reason we're here today is because of our yesterday. Everything I've been through has defined who I am right now. So what's the goal? What's the vision? So no matter what you say to me, no matter what you say I cannot do, no matter what you say I will not do, I must do. I have to do. I am king. I live as king. I walk as king.
So how do we be a king in our own life? I'm going to share right now our morning kingly plan. And then I'm going to ask you, what are the crutches in your life? Okay, that gentleman was talking about, then we release the crutches, right? So first of all, we need to heal. Like if our leg is snapped in 4 places and the bone is sticking out, yeah, we're going to need a cast for a while. And we're going to need some crutches, right? And that's where I was in 2015, and that's okay, right? We don't let go of the cast or the crutches before we're ready. And that's why we're here, to learn these skills and to be among other men. So I'm going to ask you though, what crutches do you maybe need to let go of? How are you treating yourself that you no longer should? What else is going on in your life that maybe it's time to let go of? Either your shitty old stories, untrue beliefs, poor skills, the way you handle interactions. Okay, so let me show this kingly plan, and then I want you guys to raise your hand in the participant section if you'd like to come in and ask a question, or post in chat. What's a crutch that you believe you're ready to drop? Or maybe there's a crutch that you don't think you're ready to drop. Okay, So raise your hand in the participant section or jump in and chat, and I'm going to share our morning kingly plan right now. I created this myself. I did not read this anywhere else. I did not steal this from anywhere else. Okay, this is mine. This is, from our work, right? So as you sit on your throne in the morning, you can do your morning kingly plan in the time it takes you to take a shit. Right? So there's no excuses. So step 0 is get up, right? Once you get up out of bed, you're no longer at the starting line. You're past the starting line. So give yourself some credit. Once your feet hit the floor, you're no longer at the starting line. What do I appreciate about this moment right now? So I have a 1-sentence appreciation journal that I keep in the bathroom, and I literally write 1 sentence each day. Okay. And if I miss a day, it's easy to write it in from yesterday and then write today. So 1-sentence appreciation. Then I read for 3 minutes something inspirational or a book like No More Mr. Nice Guy or Hold On to Your Nuts or The Masculine in Relationship by G.S. Youngblood. That's another one I love, The Masculine in Relationship by Youngblood. And then we ask ourselves, what do I know to be true? Right? What's good about me? What do I bring to the world? Why did I put my feet on the floor? Is it because of my kids? Is it because I want to keep moving forward? It's because I know that I'm better than this, right? What doesn't work for me? What's the opposite? What do I want? What are questions that inspire me? Okay, and I broke these up because these are different echelons. 1, 2, 3 is like you could be 80% asleep and do them. Okay, 4 and 5, you got to wake up a little bit more. Maybe you'd write about them. Okay, 6 and 7 are I actually want to move forward in the world. I actually want to do something about this. Okay, I'm not just in victim mode. I'm not complaining. I'm not bitching. I'm not saying it's her fault, right? I'm taking my balls out of her purse and actually being the man that I want to be without complaining, okay? And I'm asking myself, what inspires my day today? What's my purpose today? What's my purpose this week? What's my purpose this month? One thing I say on our show is, take the binoculars down off your face, okay? If I ask you the question, what's your mission? What's your purpose? And you're like, I have no fucking idea, okay? That means you need to take the binoculars down off of your face and look down at the next 2 steps in your life. What am I doing? What's my purpose today? What's my purpose for the next 10 minutes? Okay? The purpose for the next 10 minutes is your morning kingly plan. And that's why I wrote this up to give to you guys. Okay? Number 7, what's the next kingly step I believe I can achieve? And by the way, if you haven't taken a screenshot of this, go for it now. Or we have this within our free giveaway that I'll give the link here to in about 10 minutes for our new program that we just completed literally last night. It's completely different, right? And then the boardroom exercise is something I want to put a pin in because that would be too much to describe today. That's a way to check in with the disowned parts of ourselves. The parts of like my anger, I call the Hulk. And the Hulk, I tried to shun. I tried to make him go sit in the corner. I tried to make my anger go away. I tried to deny my anger. I tried to shame my anger away. Okay, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. So the boardroom exercise is a way to integrate those parts of ourselves that get in the way or explode or collapse or run away. That's what the boredom exercise is. And we talk about that in the program that we finished last night too, the free program that we're going to give away today. So Cynthia, if you'd please honor our chat, right? So Billy's talking about the physical exercise that he's doing and how he's cooking with his daughter, cooking blog with his daughter, growing a garden, lots of awesome stuff. Oh yeah, the pies, of course, PIES, right? He's also getting help from a therapist. He's attending AA meetings. Awesome. Super great guy. Like, you know, moving into the world, growing, owning yourself, being honest. And Billy, thank you for being so honest. This is fucking great. Like your vulnerability, I can see you're moving forward. You're not at the starting line at all. So this reminds me of myself, Billy, of, you know, the tragedy of 2015 was the fuel was, you know, I was the, I can say now, and this feels a little embarrassing to say, but it's like, you know, the phoenix has to burn off. You have to burn in the fire to be reborn and you know, jettison yourself into the next echelon of your life here. So Cynthia, I'd love for you to honor our chat while I go ahead and show Maslow's hierarchy. So to be launched into self-actualization, right? The peak of Maslow's hierarchy here, the desire to become the most one can be, we will have to have had adversity. If we had a posh life, our whole life, then we're not going to be pushed to be the best man that we can be. Okay. Viktor Frankl says the only way, Viktor Frankl is a psychiatrist and a Holocaust survivor. If you haven't heard of his book, A Man's Search for Meaning, the audio book, the first half is about 3 hours long. Okay. Super fucking deep, right? You're diving into the bottom of the ocean reading A Man's Search for Meaning. And for me, it gave me gigantic perspective and appreciation for my own life. And Viktor Frankl says that the only thing we have control of is our perspective on what's happening for us. We control our perspective. We control how we appreciate something or learn from something. So Cynthia, I'd love for you to honor our men in the chat, please. Thank you.
Sure. Well, one thing I was kind of hearing between the lines was something I don't think a lot of women understand. There's been some men who've mentioned that age-old problem. If she had just told me what she was needing and wanting, I would have been there to fix it. She didn't tell me, and then she waited until she was angry and disappointed. And one gentleman mentioned it was kind of like the frog in the water, and he doesn't realize that the heat's turning up. I've even seen in my relationship with you, Jeff, that even in the moments when I wasn't asking you well for something I was needing, but then I shared with you that it felt that I was looking for more connection or to be a part of your life, I saw the man in you hold incredible space for that and hold boundary. And I saw the part of you that was in grief, that the woman in your life had been needing something and that you had wanted to provide that and she wasn't able to speak that well. So I think so much of this is an initial forgiveness of ourselves, forgiveness of you that, yeah, the woman in your life did not communicate well. And it's not your fault that you didn't understand her hints, and that it's okay to let go of that and to move on from here, start the path from here, because you didn't know and she wasn't able to tell you. And that's okay. That is not a fault of yours.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, that reminds me of, is it my fault and what's my responsibility? Right. So I could live in shame and guilt for the rest of my life and go climb under a rock. And how would I model that masculinity for my son? My son is now 16 years old. He was 11 when we separated and divorced. If I don't lead myself into the next chapter of my life, what kind of model am I showing for my own son? And what am I not allowing? What's the opportunity cost? What's the opportunity cost if I don't learn these skills? If I don't learn how to be the man I want to be in a relationship? What's the opportunity cost for the potential loss of a phenomenal relationship like I attracted in Miss Cynthia Cruz? When I met her, if I hadn't done this work, I would have fallen into the same old nice guy patterns, right? And that would have blown up in my face again, right? Or we would have never been together in the first place, because she's always been and she still is on a path of growth. Okay? So if I wasn't on that path, I would have missed the opportunity, right? And what is luck? Luck is preparation meets opportunity, right? And then seizing the day. And that's what I did when I seized the day with Cynthia. We'll have to tell our story of me seizing the day another time. So I want to share another tool with you right now. Cynthia, if you'd please keep honoring the chat, I'd appreciate it. I'm going to share another tool with you right now. So what's the pattern, right? So it may not be our fault that we didn't know these skills, that we didn't have a father to teach us these things, who didn't understand these things. My dad sure as hell didn't know how to teach me these things. Okay, so where did I learn these shitty patterns? Okay, that's not that I can blame it on him, but just let's look at the truth. Where did I learn this? Okay, what does this look like, and what did this sound like? And why did my dad teach me what he did? Because that was the best that he could do. He was doing the best he could. He was trying to teach me to be a strong man in the world. My dad was born in 1943 outside of Savannah, Georgia, and he had to come home from the military when his father died of a heart attack in his 40s. So my dad's father died in I think it was 43, 45. I can remember that because it's the same year my dad was born, okay, 43. So my dad had to come home at 20 years old and be the sole provider for his family in rural, outside of Savannah, Georgia, like rural. You know, you're driving and you don't see anything for 8 miles, kind of rural in Savannah, Georgia. So that's the kind of man that he was. He'd give you the shirt off his back, but he was not great with kids. You know, he didn't know how to connect with me. He didn't know how to share his feelings. That doesn't mean he's a bad man. He's an amazing man. Okay. But now I have a great relationship with him because I'm an adult and I can connect with him. So it's just about learning about that. And then what do we do about it? Okay. So then what do we do going forward? And so when am I going to be ready? In 2015, I asked myself the question, when am I ready to let go of this pattern, this old shitty way of being? Right. And that's why I did a search on meetup.com. That's why I kept showing up over and over every 2 weeks to Steve Horseman's local meetup group. That's why I hired a coach. That's why I went to a retreat. That's why I read every book. Okay. That's why I pressed pause on intimacy for 3 months. So I could get my own feet underneath me, get my own grounding. I've got another example of shitty relationship patterns here that I think you guys can relate to here in a moment. But I want to honor our men, and I'll give you that free link before I show the next video. So yeah, Steve Horseman's here right now. Good to see you, Steve. And some guys I know from our show, Walters and Rob and Robert's here. Scott, I've seen from the forums before. Patrick is here from New Zealand. He's on our show. Nick, I see your name. Mike and Matt. And let's see, Clay. I'm not going to be able to say everybody's name. Keith and Kent again from our show. Phenomenal. Kevin, I've seen on our show a couple of times. Phenomenal. Yeah, Joseph's here. Jonathan's here. Bunch of John. Yeah, John's here as well. I know these guys. Ian and Hussein's here, right? Hudson, haven't met you yet, bud. Thanks for being here. Let's see. Haresh and George and Franklin and Drew, Denny, Dave, you guys are awesome. Dan, good to see you again, bud. Carl, Carlos, Brian, and Anwar. I've seen you on another one of these Sunday shows. Welcome back, man. And Ben, I've seen your name certainly before. Andrew, and there's a handful of guys calling in on their phone here too. Albert is here. Anthony, I've seen on our show. Welcome back, Anthony. So if I missed you, I apologize, but thanks for being here, guys. Absolutely phenomenal. So I want to give you these links right now, and then I'll share them again in another 30 minutes. If you want to ask, and guys, this is like, we just want you to know what's on the menu, okay? So if you want to ask about our one-on-one coaching, the first call is always free, no BS, no strings attached. I just spoke with the man on Friday for 45 minutes, and then he had to go because his truck got stuck in the mud. He's in North Carolina, it had been raining, and he got his truck stuck in the mud, and his buddy came and was pulling him out. So I talked with him for 45 minutes, and then I got back on the phone with him Friday night for another hour and a half, and that was a free consult call that we did. Okay, that's part of my belief in is heart and business. It's my motto, heart and business, heart and business. And the first consult call with me or any of the other coaches within Good Guys to Great Men is always free. Okay, our goal is to listen and be present for you, which is something we hardly ever get in the world today, is someone's full attention and presence. And we're here to hear your story and give you our professional advice if you'd like it. Okay, we don't do some sales pitch. I don't talk business at all on the first call. All right, so if you guys are interested in that, here I'm going to show you the link right now, and I'll put it in the chat as well. So you're going to go to Good Guys to Great Men, the number 2/apply now. It's on the screen. I'm going to put this in the chat right now, /apply-now. Okay, so you go to goodguystogreatmen.com and go to contact is where you'll find this. And I just put the link in the chat. And so that's going to go to Dan Dorr, and he matches you up with another coach, either myself or Neil or Dennis or Mark or Tatesy, right? Neil's in Sweden, Mark's in Melbourne, Australia, and Dennis is in Kansas City, I believe. Kansas City, right? Yeah, he's in Missouri, Kansas City, the border there. And who did I leave out? Tatesy. Tatesy's in Copenhagen, and he's a police officer and a police supervisor right now. So, I'm in Colorado. I'm here locally. I'm lucky enough to be close to Steve and Tim and other guys here in Colorado. So yeah, goodguys2greatmen.com and go to the contact button or /apply-now. And for our free program that we just finished last night, and This page doesn't look super fancy because I put it together as fast as I could, just made it functional. So go to my website, greatmenmovemountains.com/free program, and you punch in your info and you get instant access to our 10 days, solve the fear of divorce in 10 days, right? What's the number one fear, or what's the number one cause of divorce? It's fear, right? And so in the time it takes you to brush your teeth, we're going to give you this exact program day to day. It's morning and night. It's about 2 minutes in the morning and 2 minutes at night. And it includes the morning kingly plan that we showed, right? So greatmenmovemountains.com/free program. And you get instant access, no BS. I'm not trying to upsell you like any of that shit, right? Everything's on our sleeve, guys, okay? So Cynthia, if you'd please honor our chat, I'd appreciate it. What other questions have you seen? What other stories are the men sharing, please?
Yes, thank you. So there's the kind of the theme. There's a question about how do I set boundaries? What does boundaries mean for a woman? And, how do I hold a vision for the future when she says, I see no future with you? How do I learn to talk about emotions if I feel really disconnected or if I'm triggered by emotions? And I think what's pretty awesome about having something like a 10-day plan that you would repeat is that a lot of these things, this feeling of digging ourselves out of a hole, you are absolutely right. It is not something that you're just going to hear one thing and then tomorrow the 50-foot hole is filled in and you can move on from there. And regular practices of these things, it does change the tide of relationships. And I say that with confidence because a woman is always responding to the relationship space between you two. So if this is like relationship space is a glass globe, and in it is, everything that has come before. If the water in there hasn't been changed in a while, it's gotten kind of murky and old, and there's swamp creatures inside, then you're right. Every time you try to do something new, she's going to be reacting as if the swamp water is there and not seeing what you're doing new. That's why persistence and regular practice is so important, because you're slowly changing out that water. You're putting in different plant life. So that question about what does boundaries mean to a woman, how do I not respond to her constant criticism when I'm trying to change? When you're establishing values, you're establishing values for yourself, but for values for the relationship space between you. When you're holding up what's important to you, you're also holding up boundaries of what's important and keeps the relationship space safe and moving forward. So as you start to have these new conversations with this person in your life, it is for this space. It's not about you defending what you believe and how you want to live your life. You are defending and protecting what's between you two and keeping you both healthy and happy and moving forward. And if she wants to keep trying to dump in old water into this bowl, that's the boundary you set. This is where I want to go forward with us. I hear you, I understand you, and that this is the connection I want for us to have. These are the experiences I want for us to have together. Her priority is always the space between you two. So your boundaries, your focus with her is about that space.
Oh, I love that, Cynthia. Her thoughts are always around the space in between you. Okay, whether she wants more space, or she wants more intimacy and desire right now, she's always considering that space in between. And you've probably seen me I say a lot on our show and all of our other materials. And Steve and Tim talk about the we space. That's what you're referring to, Cynthia. So I like to say, and we like to say, there's you, there's her, and then there's the relationship. there's the three entities. There's you, there's her, and there's the relationship. And you each have parts of your efforts into the relationship. And this is like a child. This is like a business in and of itself. It's a third entity that needs to be nurtured and understood and grown. And yeah, you're absolutely right, Cynthia, that not one person can do that either. And maybe she's wanting more space, or maybe she's not wanting this at all right now. Okay. So there was a question in the chat by Dave. Dave says, we're currently in a no contact separation. How do I possibly show her what I've learned and how I've changed? I answered another man about this literally yesterday. He texted me the same exact question. And this question comes up a lot, Dave, so I'm happy to talk about this real fast. So I have 3 phases of coaching, okay? When I coach a man one-on-one, there's 3 solid phases. If you want to write this down, cool. Okay, the first phase is stop fucking up. The second phase is grow your roots and your depth as a man through this work, okay, and being around other men. So learning the 3 forms of confidence, growing your behavioral skills, growing your emotional control, right? Growing your spiritual mindsets of who you are in the world. What's the purpose in my next 10 minutes here? Doing the kingly plan, okay? That's your spiritual concepts. That's the second one, is grow depth, grow yourself. And third is ask. How do I ask for what I want in a compassionate, connected, mature, not worried about outcome independent way? How can I ask? And guess what? If you're still in phase 1, stop fucking up, you should not be asking for anything. Okay? You might be upholding your boundaries. You might stop being a nice guy. You might stop letting someone walk all over you. Okay? And we talk about that in Good Guys to Great Men and the groups and my group, Great Men Move Mountains. And that's why it's like, get No More Mr. Nice Guy by Robert Glover, get Hold On to Your Nuts by Wayne Levine, and get The Masculine in a Relationship by G.S. Youngblood, okay? And you'll start to learn about those things. But Dave, what I answered the man yesterday is, if you're in the phase of stop fucking up, what you're doing, you're showing her that you're not being the hummingbird husband any longer, like Steve says. You're not crossing boundaries you shouldn't be crossing. You're not escalating physically farther than her emotional connection to you. Okay, that's another product that we have, our free audiobook. So greatmenmovemountains.com/free audiobook is how to get more love and connection and affection and sex. And it's called The Staircase of Intimacy. Okay, there's the physical staircase, and then right beside that is the emotional staircase. So if you try to jump past her perception of your emotional connection in that moment, you know, right now, as I also heard on the chat, her perception of your emotional connection, you can't go beyond that spot physically. So if you're trying to demand sex, but the relationship is in the shitter, you're trying to jump way past her perception of your emotional connection. Okay? Not a good idea. It's not going to work out. What does she want with the space in between? More space. She doesn't feel safe if you don't understand that she wants to feel emotionally connected up to a point of your physical escalation. Okay, so the short answer is, you're not fucking up. Okay, you're learning this. You're part of the group. You're watching our videos. You know, maybe you got coaching, or you're part of the Diffuse a Divorce Bomb course. So you learn how to stop fucking up. Right? One of the chapters in Diffuse a Divorce Bomb is stop this, start that. Okay? If you don't know what those things are, it's trial and error, and you're literally not literally, but metaphorically walking through a minefield. And guess what happens when you blow your leg off? Okay, you can't grow your leg back. There's another man he said yes to coaching yesterday, and he had a consult. He was, thinking about it, if you will, and then gave his wife a page-long bitching complaint letter last weekend. And he then sent it to me 2 days ago on Friday. And he's like, what do you think of this letter I sent my wife? I said, it looks like you just lit your own balls on fire. That's what I said. So actually that was what I said to myself. What I said was, that's a page-long letter of persecution and playing victim. And that's not going to help. I know that you're pleading for connection with her. I know you're trying to understand and share with her your emotional wants. And she's like a closed down, strong, independent woman, right? And she doesn't really know how to connect with you because she doesn't have the skills maybe. And writing her this long letter of pleading with her and, persecuting her for not doing these things and not giving you time and competing for your time, and she wears lacy things but never shows them off to you. Like, mommy doesn't do this for, it completely came across in the wrong way. And I would have loved for him to have hired me 1 week earlier. He said yes yesterday. No bullshit, guys. He said yes yesterday. I'm like, man, I wish he would have hired me a week ago, because he just lit his nuts on fire. Okay, like, let's put the fire out, let's you put some ointment on that. You put some ointment on that. Like, you take care of it. But how can I lead you forward here? That's what this is, guys. So I'm going to show, oh yeah, thank you, Andrew. I really appreciate that. So Andy is on our show, our Great Men Move Mountains show, the C-Note show that we host every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time here. And Andy's in Spain, and Spain is 8 hours ahead of us. And so in Spain, it's 7 p.m. when we start our show every morning at 11 a.m. And Andy's one of the moderators in my closed private Facebook group as well. And again, if you want to be in that, go to greatmenmovemountains.com/Facebook and punch in your info. It's free, awesome stuff in there. And thank you, Andy, for linking the free audiobook that we have. The free audiobook is a 45-minute book, audiobook that has an accompaniment, a 13-page PDF accompaniment that has a tool called Don't Be a Tool, which is how to reconnect after a fight, okay, or repair if things are in a bad spot, that starts that ball rolling in the right direction. And so, speaking of lighting your balls on fire, I want to show a scene from Revolutionary Road with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. It's about 1 minute long, where he definitely blows his leg off in the minefield of relationship, and you don't want to be this man.
April. April.
April! April!
The inability. Oh, Frank, you really are a wonderful talker. If black could be made into white by talking,
You'd be the man for the job. So now I'm crazy because I don't love you, right? Is that the point?
No, wrong! You're not crazy, and you do love me. That's the point, April.
but I don't. I hate you. You were just some boy who made me laugh at a party once, and now I loathe the sight of you.
Ouch.
In fact, if you come any closer, if you touch me or anything, I think I'll scream.
Come on, stop this, April.
Fuck you, April! Fuck you and all your hateful...
What are you gonna do now? Are you gonna hit me to show me how much you love me?
Don't worry, I can't be bothered. You're not worth the trouble it would take to hit you. You're not worth the powder it would take to blow you up. You are an empty, hollow shell of a woman. I mean, what the hell are you doing in my house if you hate me so much? Why the hell are you married to me?
Yeah, I can relate to that, man. That, I haven't broken a chair against the wall, but one of the most, I'll be vulnerable with you guys here, is back in 2007, the first time she fell in love with another man while with me. I was giving my son a bath. He was 3 at the time. He was born in 2004, so my son was 3, and I still had my business clothes on. I was a businessman all through my 20s, and I switched my career when I was 30 years old. So over a decade ago, I've been in teaching and mental health and coaching. So back then, tons of stress in the real estate business and things. 2007, right? What was coming in 2007? And so I still have my business clothes on. I'm giving my son a bath, and he's like not listening to me. He's 3 years old. So I'm giving him a bath, and it's whatever. I was stressed about work, and I turned and I put my elbow into the bathroom door. Okay? Put my elbow into the bathroom door, and that was one of the most man, I'm still embarrassed by that. Like, what kind of guy, what kind of father puts his fucking elbow through a door, right? What kind of modeling as a man was I for my son back at that time? And that's why I don't ever want to go back to that, right? I don't want to blow my leg off in the minefield of relationship. I don't want to be that man for my son, and so that's one thing. And I tell that story not because whatever, I'm not trying to compare to anyone else. It's something that I share with men now because I don't ever want to be that man again that just fucking explodes like Leonardo did in that scene there, And then when she like threw emotion at him, he just like bazooka fucking rocket launchered his own relationship, right? Just let me just blow the whole bridge of, oh, she's going to say that? Okay, well then here we go. Boom, right? And while that was very painful for Leonardo in that scene, he certainly didn't need to, drop the napalm on his entire relationship in that moment. Okay, he's obviously hurt, he's obviously crushed, he's obviously, in pain, but that doesn't mean it's okay to like launch it at her and just nuke the fucking relationship, right, guys? Especially if you've got kids, like especially if you want anything to do with this woman ever again, you've got to learn to, like I say, play the chess game. Like look down and make the best move that you have right now. Okay, you may be in pain and sad and infuriated. Take the binoculars off your face, look down at the board, look at what pieces are on the board, okay? Take a big breath, take a break if you need to, and then make the best move that you can with the pieces that are on the board right now. When you look down at the board again, it might be different the next move because all of us know that with women, things change, right? But you don't want to blow up the relationship like that. So Cynthia, let me ask you, and I'd love for men, I saw Joshua, I think you're talking with somebody else that kind of distracted me for a second. If you guys want to raise your hand or come in, you go to the participant section of Zoom, and then you can choose raise your hand, I believe next to your name. You click more, or you click next to your name and you raise your hand if you'd like to come in and share a question. So I'll ask you to keep it to 30 seconds for your question, okay? Because we have about 13 minutes left in our show here today. But so Cynthia, I do want to end our show with a very powerful connecting traditional ritual dance called the Haka from New Zealand. And Patrick introduced this to us this week on the show. It was incredibly powerful. That was what was the catalyst for the man that I read his story earlier that talked about integrating himself. Okay. This story right here, where I said, the masculine center that is part of me that observes these emotions in my head. When I can honor these emotions and relax into them, they're released and take with them the trauma that was their source. Every time I release a powerful emotion with love and compassion, it clears space for what I would choose to be there, right? And he wrote that after seeing the Haka ceremony. It's within a wedding. And it's this incredibly powerful ceremony that has subtitles that say what the ceremony, what they're saying, what it means. It's traditional in New Zealand. And maybe Patrick can come on at the very end and give us some feedback. So Cynthia, I saw Shawn, you raise your hand. Give me one moment and I'm definitely going to call on you. Cynthia, give us some feedback when you're in upset, okay? And you're flooding, right? Your emotions are flooding all over and he maybe isn't quite sure how to handle that, right? We definitely don't want to be Leonardo and just nuke everything and go, ape shit, obviously, right? So what do we want to do as a man when a woman's flooding like this? Give us, a quick tool or your perspective or the mindset as a woman of how would you love your man to be in that moment of your flood, please.
Well, I do believe a woman's flood, she floods to be understood. She keeps bringing things up to be understood. Any of us, when we are understood, whether or not the person agrees exactly with our experience, that's what we're seeking. And I even see that in the clip that you showed, or Leonardo DiCaprio, his outburst in the heart and the seat of it was to be understood and how painful this was and how raw and surprising and shocking. And so, as a woman, I absolutely respect that it is not your job as a man just to continually, hold the bucket and for me to be, wild and kept all the time, but for you to invite me to share more about what I was saying or what asking me like, what do you want me to understand about this? Or what is the most important thing about this you want me to know? That is such a gift. It's even in my body right now, there's like an unclenching, like, oh, I can really talk about what is deeply here. And even if the woman in your life is like, I don't know, I'm just telling you, why can't you understand? You even just asking that is, please know that is enormous and kind and generous of you. And it's also a really wonderful way to set a boundary in yourself that this isn't about you. This is someone in their human experience just wanting to be understood.
Just wanting to be understood. Oh my gosh. And so many of us here are just wanting to be understood. Shawn, I'm going to have you come in 20 seconds. I want to shoot out. So Andrew in the chat asked, how do I control the fear of divorce? It seems to be the number one solution. Not sure how not to worry that the woman I love is willing to walk away and nuke the family with 2 kids under 6. Okay. So I'll say, I'm going to be just like blunt, which is we're not going to solve that in 90 minutes. Okay. However, we're giving you tools to start on that road. We're giving you the free program that you can go to greatmenmovemountains.com/free program that takes you, it's through 10 days of exactly how to do that. You've got the Morning Kingly plan that we introduced here today. And if you haven't screenshotted this, or if you can't do that right now, download our free program. So greatmenmovemountains.com/free program. And we talk about exactly how to do this. We go through these over 10 days. All right. Or you can hire a private coach one-on-one to move through this as fast as you can. Like, no bullshit. This is why I did that. This is why other men do that. Right. And I've got a story of Billy, if we have time, who has started to have amazing sex with his wife again. He's 10 weeks working with me, and they've gone from she doesn't want to touch him at all to she said that was the best sexual experience that she's ever had. Okay, he no shit told me that last week, and it wasn't intercourse. He spent like an hour and a half just doing foreplay and other play and other fun stuff. Right? So it's not about just going for dick and pussy, right? So also be around these other men. Okay, so you've got tools, you got your Kingly plan, you've got your free stuff, you can hire a one-on-one coach, you can be in the round table, you can do Diffuse the Divorce Bomb, and you can reach out to other men, right? So chat other men here, chat up other men in the Facebook group, right? There's, of course, Good Guys to Great Men, and there's greatmenmovemountains.com/Facebook. You've got different groups. So Shawn, thank you. If you go ahead and jump in, let me see if I can unmute you. Yeah, go for it, Shawn, please. What's your question or statement? I'd love to hear.
Right now, I'm back with my wife. We're still living separately, but we're working on moving me back into the home. My biggest fear right now is falling back into old patterns of mine, and I don't know if this is just a lot of fear based behind it, because a lot of things that I've been working on, she's acknowledged and she's seen. A lot of her walls have come down. She's really softened to being affectionate and things like that with me now. So we're at a point where we're considering me coming back to the household. We have 2 young daughters, and I know that this time coming back, so I've been out just in the separation part of it, and I haven't wanted to come back until I'm healthy and my wife is healthy. And I know that if I step back into the household now, it needs to be a permanent situation, because I don't want to do this to my kids. I don't want to do it to my wife, and I don't definitely want to do it to myself. So.
Okay. Yes. I was wondering if there'd be another sentence after that. So I was like, I don't know if he knows what he wants, right? Okay. So what do you want to be there before you make this decision to move into her, back into the marital home? What do you want to be in existence for yourself and within the space in the relationship?
I want to be able to stand strong as a man and not fear what I have opinion-wise, or what it's sacrificing part of myself. I don't want to sacrifice part of myself because out of fear, because I don't want to say how I feel or my opinion. And that's what I've done. I've kind of kept everything in and not expressed myself.
Yeah.
And through that, I felt I've lost a lot within myself. And then I've also taken away from the relationship.
Yes. And so thank you, Shawn. I'm going to ask you another question here in a second. So when you came on the show, I don't know, it's like a month ago. So in the last month is when you two have started to reconnect and be physical again. And now you're asking yourself this question, right?
Right.
Let me be blunt, right? And I'll ask a question again. So going 1 month from going from, I don't know what the fuck is going on, I have no idea how to look at this, right. I'm kind of like, I've taken a half step forward into this men's work and I don't really know. And 30 days later is not a lot of time. Okay. Right. That doesn't mean I'm saying don't move back into the marital home. It's not what I'm saying. Is I just want you to realize, right? So without having a rhetorical question that I would have for you is like, have you read the 3 books I mentioned? Have you been talking with other men on a daily or weekly at least basis, right? I spent 9 months doing this work. I spent 3 months with no intimacy with a woman, no emotional or physical intimacy, right? It was like, friendships and things like that and guy friends and stuff, but it was 3 months. That's what I recommend to a lot of my one-on-one clients. I'm not saying that's what you have to do. I'm not saying that's what everybody does, but that's kind of like a guideline. So if you look at that, it's pretty quick. Now, let me go to your question. You seem like a pretty emotionally in pretty emotional control of your own self, Shawn. It seems like your kind of go-to maybe is to like freeze or to not say, or maybe kind of not run away, but not know what to say, and then maybe don't know how to bring it up again. Is that true?
That's 100% true.
Okay. And so how have you been practicing in a calm, confident way, speaking up for yourself, either with her or with anybody in your life, like your family or your children or your boss or, the dude at the grocery store or behind the counter, how have you been practicing speaking up for yourself in a calm way over the past 30 days?
So since my wife and I have been kind of in the process of dating within this whole COVID thing and that weirdness in itself, but so with her, I've been more open and responsive. I mean, I posted in the group a week ago that there was an incident where I didn't express what I was wanting from her, and she felt it. And she knew exactly what it was. She fell back into a pattern of hers, and she just opened up. And instead of me asking for sex, she's the one that made it happen. And then there was an emotional response for her, and then we kind of went down this path of communicating as to why that happened. And it's because I didn't simply just ask for it. And so now I'm getting to the point where I'm feeling more comfortable asking for things from her. But I'm still having some problem with her response. I don't want to upset her. I want the whole nice guy thing.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So let's move the ball forward as far as we can today, Shawn. Right.
Okay.
Okay. Number one. So I think that I've shown this before, but I want to show the thermometer because this is a great representation of we can't be immediately concerned about her response to us. Okay. Right. So we're not judging our own self off of how she's feeling. And when you stand up for yourself, let's say, so let me come back. So if I'm standing up for myself, the person across from me is probably not going to like it in that moment, right? That doesn't mean that that's bad or wrong. It's probably really good, honestly. And she must respect you. A woman must respect a man in order to be physically attracted to him. And she must be physically attracted to him in order to be in love with him. For her to feel in love, she must feel physically attracted to you. Okay. It's different than men, right? So if you're like, that's your question is, well, how do I become less fearful? How do I become, I don't want to be fearful of walking on eggshells and what she thinks of me. So here's what I would say. Okay. You really need to bring your perspective in. I guess I could use the same metaphor analogy for you is take the binoculars off your face
Right.
You don't have to have 10. If I think that one segment of time is really actually 10 segments of time in reality, and I'm your coach, Shawn, and I say, hey, what you're trying to do is you're trying to have answers for 10 segments of time. And what I want you to do is realize that that's 10 segments, and all you want is to lead into the next one segment. Know what you want, know who you are in the next one segment. And if she wants to know something beyond that, it's totally cool to say, like, that's a great question, and I can see that's super important to you. I'm going to think about that. I'm going to meditate on that. I'm going to go for a run tonight, and I'd like to circle back with you tomorrow, and I'll bring my thoughts to you, right? Do not, so all of us that have strong, I mean, this is like the cultural moray of our times, guys, is strong women who like push in the world and push in our relationship and kind of want answers now. And if we get the oh shit face, if we're like on our back foot, then all of a sudden we've done something wrong, and she then pushes more. It's like, it seems like something, like if I think something's wrong, she's going to feel something's wrong. So Cynthia talks about this a lot. Cynthia, in a moment, I'd love for you to jump in. So I can't think basically the practice is, if I don't know, can I hold that tension and be okay with it and have the skills, the emotional confidence, the behavioral confidence, and the spiritual confidence is, it's not 10 segments of time, it's one. Okay. Can I be okay with the tension of not knowing the answer? Not trying to tell her what she wants to hear, but if I don't know my answer, there's tension. By the way, that's also the cause of sexual tension. That's also the reason there's sexual tension, is there's mystery, there's like anticipation, there's foreplay. Like, so if you can't hold tension, you're probably not very good at sexual tension either. That's another topic for another time. So you got to be able to hold tension and then have the skills to say things like, that's a really great question. I'm totally going to think about that and I'll get back with you. Or again, whatever you are going to do. So you're diving into the emotion and then you're giving a plan. So, hey, that's a really great question of what you want to know. How is this going to be different over the next year? Like she comes to you and she says, I'm worried about us falling into the same pattern. What do you think about that? And she's like asking 30 steps of a question. And you say, yeah, I'm really interested in that too. I've been thinking a lot about that too. And I want to go meditate on this tonight and come back with you tomorrow morning and talk about the next step for us in our life. So I just led in one segment of time, right? I wasn't like, well, yeah, I don't want to fall back into the same, blah, 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 right? Like, she's like, fuck, what the fuck? This guy hasn't thought about, she's just into like, I'm all on my own again. It's like, I'm on my own. So Cynthia, give us some feedback for Shawn. That was my Cliff's Notes. I know we're a few minutes over here, so we're going to wrap up. We'll go a few minutes over here, guys. We'll wrap up pretty soon. I'm going to share the links one more time at the end. But Cynthia, so give Shawn some feedback. He's a guy that kind of doesn't know what to say. He's got control of himself emotionally, Shawn, which is really good. That's really, really good. Okay, it seems like you understand the spiritual concept of one chunk at a time, right? So Cynthia, give him some feedback from a woman and how he can confidently lean into the unknown, how he can expand his radar when he's, venturing out into the unknown of this reconciliation, so he doesn't blow his leg off in the minefield.
Oh, yeah. I love that metaphor of not blowing off your leg in the minefield. Well, Jeff, what you just said about in the moment, it is okay to say, this is something that I want to learn more about, know more about, understand, and be clear on. And tomorrow or next week, I'd like to get back to you with that next step. I actually felt this excitement in my belly, like this anticipation of what was to come. And so I love that idea that it's okay to have tension in relationship, whether there is that, it's the excited tension or the there's some energy that's not completely resolved yet tension. I think, Shawn, for you to for you to model in yourself that you are okay with that kind of tension is incredibly compelling and makes me feel safe, because you know, and your wife knows that that's just a part of life. We're in moments of peace and certainty, and then there's uncertainty, peace and certainty, and there's uncertainty. And if you are leading, that uncertainty is a safe, solid place that will have a resolution. That's amazingly compelling and pulls at me. So I love that you are exploring this with her. And I also love that you are feeling into, there are times when you're like, ooh, I didn't say what I was feeling or what I was wanting. And that's okay too. Like, it's okay to have the sinking feeling in the stomach, like, ooh, I want to do this better next time. That's also exciting as relationships grow and change that way. And I think that's amazing.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Cynthia.
Yeah. So if you had one more question, what would it be? What would be the next roadblock for you, or the next concern that you might have?
It's to be honest with you, it's the moments that, because she pushes in, and she pushes in with the bigger question. Like, what is this going to look like when you come back into the household? And that's where I feel I collapse.
Okay. So what work have you done for yourself to write out, to literally draw out what you want in the next chapter of life? Let's say the next chapter is the next month, and then do you have 10 pictures over the next year? Do you have 10 chapters of writing that you've written in your journal of what the next year might look like? What have you done for yourself?
So I haven't done that in perspective of a long-term perspective on that, because I still feel I don't have a connection to who I am. I'm still feeling that out. Since I've been separated, I was so entangled within the relationship that I forgot to me.
Okay. And so what is she at? Has she asked you to move back in, or?
So we brought it up through conversation, and I mentioned to her, I wanted to put it on the table, and maybe it's too soon, and maybe I threw that out there too soon, and now I got to figure out how to make this end up the right way.
Okay, so you're right that you probably threw it out too soon if you're the one that brought it up.
Right.
So I would guess that it's kind of like this, it would feel really good if she told me she wanted that. So it's kind of like fishing for validation almost. Is that?
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you're kind of getting your dick caught in the vice here a little bit, Shawn, right? Yeah. What does she expect the next conversation to be like? What would you guess?
Well, I'm going to be talking with her today. She's coming by the house today with my daughters. So we're going to be talking today about potential for me moving in and what that looks like.
Okay, so you didn't quite answer the question. Thank you, but what is she expecting you to say? What would you guess?
That I have a plan for moving in. I don't know, to be honest with
you. Man, your nutsack is really in that zipper, Shawn. You're like, fuck, fuck. Yeah. I got to back this out or go forward or something. What am I going to do? Yeah. It's like that movie where it's like a whole chunk of it just hanging out.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. That's a really good question. Let me think for a second here. Because it kind of depends. First of all, your kids are there too, right?
We're going to go away. My parents are going to be here to watch the kids. So we're going to go out on our own. Yeah.
Okay. So from what I'm hearing, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so correct me if I'm wrong, you don't feel ready to move back in.
I don't. I want to, but I don't. You're 100% right.
Right. Yeah, like part of you wants that warm and fuzzy of like, oh yay, we're back together.
Right.
Okay. So that's something that you have to decide. It's a hell yes or it's a no. It's not a maybe bullshit middling.
Yeah.
You know, Mark Manson talks about that with it's like a hell yes or it's a no. That doesn't mean you say it like that way to her, okay? But
Right.
so it needs to come from your guts. So here's the thing. If you can't say hell yes from your guts, then you need to give her a plan from your guts of what you do want. Okay. And so, and again, you're going to do what you want. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Shawn, but here it's got, either way, it's got to come from your heart and your guts and your soul, not from your, dick, not from just your head. Like, oh, it'd be great if we're back together and save rent or whatever bullshit.
Right.
Like, got to come from your heart and your soul. Okay. So, if you don't mind, what's her first name?
Katie.
It's like, Katie, I've been thinking about this deeply, and this is so important to me that I want to let you know that I am passionate for you. I see beauty every time I see you. And I want to take the next 3 months to really root myself as a man. And over that time, we'll date, we'll have fun, I'll plan dates, we'll go out, and we're going to take the time that we should. I'm going to take the time that I need to take as a man. And I know that I need to do this for my own self so that I can step up into the world and be the man that I want to be, not only for myself, but for you and the kids. And then shut the fuck up. And then shut up. Okay, how long did it take me to say that? Like 20 seconds or something? 30 seconds?
Right.
It's like powerful. I'm happy to say it. I love her. I'm like, the whole energy is like, I love being with you. I complimented her a little bit, not overly. And then I said what I want to do in the middle, and then I move forward. Okay. It's like, I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's so important to me. I love the time we've been spending together. You're beautiful. I do want to be with you. I know for my own self, I'm going to take the next 3 months before I move back in to ground myself as a man in the world, because I know that we're going to have an amazing future together. And not only do I want to kick ass for my own self in the world and have my adventure, because I want to be a phenomenal father and a phenomenal husband for you as well. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Like, seriously, like anything more than that, you gotta, so that's the tension. It's like, she's like, how much emotional range does she go through right there? Like, oh, he's saying but then something's gonna come, and he's like, oh, he doesn't want to move in right now. Oh, but he really knows what he wants. And like, oh, and then he's saying this future vision for us. And now he's not talking, and now he's looking at me with those beautiful eyes of his. She's like, oh, tension. Okay. And then you can hold the tension. And by the way, don't be walking like next to her when you're doing this,
Right.
It's like, boom, I'm here. I'm not shying away from this. Like, I'm here.
Right.
Okay? That's the chapter. That's the segment of time. And she's like, well, yeah, what about, and asks you a future question. Then that's when you go to, that's a really good, what are you going to do over the next 3 months? Like, tell me more about this, do not overly explain. Oh, well, I'm a part of a men's group and blah, fucking blah. No. Okay. It's like, that's an awesome question. I'm going to kick ass over the next 3 months or whatever. Like something that's like metaphoric and really short that you're proud of, or you do the, like, that's a really awesome question. I'm going to meditate on that and get back with you next Tuesday when we meet. Right.
Yeah.
So that's my advice. That's my professional advice. That was pretty direct, right? That was not really, that was more like consulting.
Right.
So you make up your own mind, dude. It's your life, but that's my professional advice. So how does that hit you?
That's some definitely that I may muddle through, but I think I can present that today in a confident way. It's not going to probably come out as smooth, but it is what it is.
Yeah, good. 30 seconds into your phone, like, look at her picture. I've showed you this before, right?
Yeah.
Get a picture of her that she's like straight faced, because she's not going to be like, when you talk to her, she's going to be straight faced.
Right.
So get a picture of her and record 30 seconds into your phone. Okay. And do it like 6 times until you're not pissing yourself in the middle of it, right? It doesn't need to be perfect. Don't try to read a script.
Right.
No script. Think about emotional range. Okay. And think about, don't save the punchline to the end. Okay. The punchline is in the middle. Put the punchline in the middle. Right. So it's like, I've been thinking about this. I love being connected with you, and this has been amazing. And I'm going to take the next 3 months. And she's like, oh, God. Right. I'm going to take the next 3 months to ground myself as a man and say a couple sentences. Right. Ground myself as a man because I know I want to be that fucking rock star. Don't do self-deprecation. Okay. Don't say nothing. I didn't say anything negative at all.
Right.
Okay. So it's like positive, good about her. I'm doing this for this is the range that she's going to feel. So I'm going to ground myself as a man over the next 3 months. And I'd strongly suggest saying an exact amount, like 3 months or 2 months. Like maybe it's before the next, like August, because the kids are going to go back to school or something.
Right. Right.
Like pick a fucking day, pick a day. Then she'd be like, shit, he's thought about this. He's got like August 15th. Like, okay. So she's going to be like, oh, God. And I'm going to take from now until August 15th to like kick ass as a man, whatever you want to say, because I want positive vision. Tension. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff.
Sure, man. Sure, dude. Cynthia, do you have any feedback on that? I think my face is getting red after that. I put myself out there for you, Shawn. Let's see how this goes. Cynthia, how do you feel about that?
Jeff, I was grinning the whole time. I think that that was attractive, that was leadership, that was honest, that was real. I think that's phenomenal. And the only other thing I want to say, Shawn, you were so humble to say, I won't say it as suave as you, Jeff. But before, I remember you saying something, you're like, oh, I kind of muddled through it. But you had said something so from the heart that I didn't freaking care what came out of your mouth. Your energy came through, and that's what mattered, and that's what hit home inside of me. So you have an amazing energy that comes from you, and I offer that you trust that.
Okay, thank you.
So cool. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks a lot, Shawn. I really appreciate it, man. Good to see you.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Great to see you on the show and everything. Okay, we're over. I'm gonna share I want to show this Haka. It's so powerful. It's 1 minute and 46 seconds, and then we're gonna close our show for today. Thank you, Shawn. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Cynthia.
You're very welcome, Shawn. You're very welcome. So watch the subtitles in this performance. It's really incredible. Oh my God, that's a tradition. That's a traditional Haka dance for New Zealand. Patrick's on here still. I'd love for him to jump in. Patrick, let me try to unmute you. Hope I can catch you at a good time here. Patrick, did you see that? Give us a little history, like 30 seconds, buddy, of history of the Haka there. Can you speak up?
Well, yes. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, go for it.
There's lots of Hakas for different things, and they all tell a story. I'm going to put my email address in to everybody, and if you go onto your Facebook forum, and Jason talked about that thing, and I've put a whole lot of links in about the Haka there, which is probably the best way for people to get the information. And one of those links there's about 5 or 6 links. There's a young chap explaining that particular Haka in depth, and then it shows his own Haka at his wedding. And so, but that Haka, I've been blown away by how powerful everybody thinks that is, because I'm used to it, I suppose. That particular one was done by, it comes from an ancient time where a chief or somebody that was developing the Haka had a son that was having problems. And so that was his Haka to him. And that one can be used at weddings and at other occasions. The Haka isn't traditional. I mean, it's not obligatory. It is typically done to honour you. And it's powerful. Well, I've never had one done for me. And I'll tell you what, I'd be in tears if it was. And it's very powerful. It's done at funerals spontaneously. It's done thing. And there's a whole different Hakas. The one the All Blacks do, our national rugby team, there's one called Kamati, and it goes Kamati, Kamati, Kora, Kora. Kamati is death, death, love, life, life, and it talks about a battle sort of thing that they're going into. But I mean, I haven't got time to explain it all, and it's in depth, and it's a thing. But if you go onto the Facebook forum, and there's 5 or 6 links, or anybody can email me, and I'll give them the links and explain a little bit.
Awesome. Thank you, Patrick. I went and hit mute for you. Yeah, so Patrick's in our private Facebook group, so greatmenmovemountains.com/Facebook for us to personally invite you in. So Cynthia or I will personally invite you in there. We've got links in there. Patrick's in there every single day. I want to share, I was typing some of the subtitles, and here's what they're saying during that wedding. So what is right is always right, indeed. Be true to yourself, my son. What problem do you have, my son? No matter how long you have this problem, the answer is it's inside of you. It's inside of you. Yes, indeed. Phenomenal. Here's 30 seconds from the All Black rugby team as well.
To know and understand this Haka Kamate is to know and understand its composer, Te Rauparaha. He was born into a life of turmoil. His people had suffered a great defeat. He faced just about extermination as a people, our Ngāti Tō people. We became one of the smallest tribes in this country, and so Te Rauparaha's ancestors have a long history of being placed under adversity. And so this Haka Kamate, it's talking about the triumph of life over death. And so that Haka today has survived hundreds of years, and it is still performed by the national rugby team, the All Blacks, whenever they take on any nation in rugby.
There we go. So you guys can look that up, the Haka, Haka, and otherwise you can email Patrick or catch us on the Facebook group. Guys, so phenomenal. I love you guys. The men that are still here that I've seen many times before, Walter, Sohail, Shawn, Rob, Paul, Patrick, Nick, Larry, Kevin, Kent. Awesome. Joshua, Joseph, and Joe, and Joseph again, Hussein, Hudson, Haresh, George, Drew, Carlos, Brian. I'm not sure who BM is. Bowel Movement's on here. Billy, thanks for sharing in the chat. So cool. And letter B. We got Anwar and Anthony and Andrew and Albert and on, and the guys on the phone. Love you guys so much. Thank you so much. So this is brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains and greatmenmovemountains.com. Catch Cynthia and I on our C-Note show every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. And for more information and the Zoom link, which is the same every day, Monday through Friday, is on our Facebook or on our website, greatmenmovemountains.com/C-Note. And we have our free products on there as well, which are, no strings attached, no BS. Cynthia, let's honor our men and say goodbye for today.
Oh my gosh. I saw Billy kind of went like this and thanks. I'm in gratitude. Again, I know that I don't even know how sacred this energy is among men, and to get to learn and grow in this and be a part of it is something I do not take for granted in one single moment. Thank you for having me. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for all that you're doing for yourself and those in your life.
Phenomenal. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your weekend. Love you being here. Thank you guys.
It's sunshine, whose body burned hot. I'ma tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves that she cares and it's lovely.